ECC Timeout Talks are brought to you by State Farm. The James Von If Agency is here for the ECC family during these unexpected times. For more information and to get a quote, visit www.vonifinsurance.com.
Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to the East Coast Conference Timeout Talk series. This is the interviews where we talk to people connected with our ECC member schools and people that are making a difference. My name is Bob Dranoff. I'm commissioner of the East Coast Conference. I'm very, very pleased today to welcome our guest. His name is Mr. Charles Choo Smith. He is a graduate of the University of District of Columbia. He is a UDC Hall of Famer and currently the founder and CEO of Choo Smith Youth Empowerment, a organization based in Baltimore, Maryland. Choo, we welcome you today.
How you doing, Bob? Thanks for having me. I'm honored and grateful to be here today, and let's represent ECC.
Okay. Thank you. Well, first of all, I figure we should start off by, and I'm sure you get asked this a lot throughout your life. So how do you get to the nickname Choo from Charles?
Well, when I was about 5 years old, my cousin, I used to run real fast. We had a lot of games in the neighborhood, and he said I ran real fast like a choo-choo train. And the name was Choo-Choo for a while. And then somebody just cut it short one day and said Choo, and that's how it stuck with me.
And then it stuck. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. You're a 1998 graduate of UDC, degree in computer science. You had an outstanding career in basketball at UDC. You finished, I was looking online, you finished your career you finished your time there as the career leader in steals and assists. Tell us about how you got to UDC and what that student-athlete experience was during your years there.
Well, I have to give a lot of credit to a great friend of mine now named Mr. Kevin Brodus. He's the head coach at Morgan State University at this moment. He was at Georgetown with John Thompson for many years. We were at Bowie State, and he was assistant coach there. And I had some problems with family and different issues at Bowie State. And I transferred over. He went over to UDC. I transferred to UDC, and Will Jones was the coach. Phenomenal, just a father figure, a legend in the University of DC area. Just a great guy, could play. He really took me under his wing, and I owe everything to him. Had a great 3 years. It was phenomenal. Just being able to learn the culture and take guys that were pretty much, I guess you can say we were all kind of rejects, from our past experience in college. Some of us was Division I rejects. Some of us didn't do what we were supposed to do at the first school we were at, and then got a second opportunity. And that man took me in, and DC took me in, and the rest was history.
Yeah. You had some good teams back then, and you obviously had a successful career and contributed a lot to the team. What would speaking of Coach Jones and the other folks in that time, the people that you met, what would you say are the top memory you have back from your UDC days?
Well, the first thing, when we first came in my first year, you know how you come to a team and you just want to kind of, get adjusted. I'm a leader by nature. I tend to kind of come in and galvanize everybody and get everybody to buy into the culture. And I kind of took a step back my first year because there was a lot of veterans there. And being though I was the point guard and had other people there, and I had some great players there like Donald Ford, Leon Cunningham, Kwame Freeland. These were all first team all Mets at DC. And when I came in, I kind of went to them when I should have just took over. And we were 9-0, and we were getting all this publicity in the paper. And then some guys failed off. So then we didn't have the kind of season that we were supposed to have. And we didn't have a winning season in UDC in the last 9 years.
Uh-huh.
So at that point, that next year, I went into camp and I said, I'm the cat. And we can fight for it, we can do whatever, but I'm the cat. And I just started doing the things, being a selfless leader, carrying the bags, coming early, staying late, talking to coach with film, and was like, we're going to have a great season this year. And then next year, we wound up being 17-10. We was one game from getting to the NCAA tournament. We upset 4 ranked teams that year. And then my senior year, it was time for me to, be that guy. And that year, great memory. Last year, we had a bunch of NBA scouts there looking for top player. And I had a great game. And I got invited to a free agent, little rookie free agent camp in Albany, New York. I did well in the camp. And then the rest was kind of history in terms of your pro career, because you start playing in different semi-pro leagues like the USBL, the CBA, overseas. And the Globetrotter representative seen me, and I got an opportunity to play with the world-famous Harlem Globetrotters.
That must have been, thinking back to those years, it must have been such an exciting time for a young guy that worked hard in college to become a better player, better person, it sounds like also. And then to have those kind of opportunities to travel throughout. I've read in your bio, you ended up playing ball in every state in the United States, in your various teams that you played for, but then also the excitement of being part of an iconic group like the Globetrotters. Tell us a little bit about those years, and I guess in whatever professional level you want, but what those years were like.
Well, playing with the Globetrotters, it really got me to understand the different cultures of all the different nationalities and different mindsets. And it just taught me how to be selfless and have empathy for all different genres of people. And being able to see people love the Globetrotters all over the world, like playing in front of 20,000 people, playing in front of 40,000, and just the love that we being the ultimate global ambassadors, goodwill ambassadors, with dealing with sports diplomacy, uniting people, and just for those 2 hours being able to entertain and put a show on and just connect with people. And it just was an amazing experience, because I came from UDC, and trying out, it was tough because they wanted to get rid of me because I didn't go to North Carolina or Duke or Kansas. And all I kept thinking about was putting my school on my chest. I'm going to represent UDC. I'm going to represent my parents, and I'm going to represent Baltimore. So I'm not getting sent home. And that was my mentality. I know I'm short. I know I'm not on anybody's radar, but you're not going to outwork me. I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to be a team guy, and I'm going to be willing to make whatever sacrifice is needed to help the organization go to the next level. And that's what they were able to see. And I was able to have a good career. I've played all 50 states, met all kinds of influential people, from popes to prime ministers to celebrities. And then as a player, I've been to 26 countries. And then after my playing days, I've been to a total of 50 plus countries.
Wow.
So, how did God choose me? And I never take it for granted. And I owe it to, people that poured into me. And that's why I give back to children, to get them to believe in themselves. And you can do anything, and don't let anyone tell you you can't be great. And you can.
During those, once you finished up college and you started playing professionally, how many years did you end up? Because you were with the Globetrotters, you were with the Harlem Wizards, another famous travel team. You're in professional, those leagues that you mentioned here in the States, also playing in Europe. How many years professionally did you play following college?
A total of 8 years. Yep. 8 years.
So how was that experience like when you finally realized you might have to hang it up with the professional ball?
Well, Bob, it's so amazing. Like, while I was playing, I didn't, and this is what I tell kids, like, I'm never going to tell you to not chase your dream, but basketball has turned into a professional conglomerate. I played it for the love. I played it because it gave me a lot of life lessons that could help me evolve later on in life. I didn't realize it was that business oriented. So it started being more of a business than the love of the game. I always wanted to do things right, help a teammate, make the sacrifice. It was never about me. It was just about me being a part of something that was great, that we could go to the next level. So after time, it was like the travel was getting to me. My body was getting beat up. And then I started not understanding or really liking the culture, because I'm 33 years old at this point. I want to have a family. I want to, I don't want to be out here just with all kinds of the women. And, it was getting old. And I said, boy, what's next for me? And I always wanted this big, gigantic community center in the city of Baltimore. So that started being my goal. When you be around all these people in these different countries and you start learning about folk, you start seeing the divide. So for me, it was all about, let me transition in doing something that can bring it together. And that's what got me to retire. I still had maybe 8, 9, 10 more years to play, because my body, even though it was broke up, I took care of my body. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have any major injuries.
But it sounds like in your mind, you had a mission that you wanted to achieve. And, we fast forward, then you found and you put together this, your Choo Smith Youth Empowerment. I just want to read for the folks what your website says is your mission, and I'd like you to comment on it. It says on your website that the mission of your organization is to prepare young people to be fully productive citizens and lifelong difference makers. I love that. I think that's an outstanding mission that all of us would hope we could impact kids in that way. But yes. So tell us, maybe tell us a little bit about how you put it together and what you do there.
Well, a friend of mine was, probably 5 years before that, while I was playing, I created this organization called Men of Vision. And what I was trying to do was bring men together, to bring all different gifts and talents together, to bridge the gap, to create an economic infrastructure, and also a life lesson piece that can help empower young men to elevate and transition in society. That experience helped me to understand how we're divided with our young people as it relates to us getting older. So a guy came to me and said, Choo, man, you got to do a basketball camp. And I said, well, I've been doing camps during the summer on my break all the time. And I knew the industry. I knew how to work a camp, how to put a camp together, because I was directors of some camps all over the country. So I put the camp together, got about 40 kids. And I tell you, Bob, it was amazing. We put a life skill component together where we deal with conflict resolution, financial literacy, how to interview, the proper etiquette and manners. And once we started doing it, people were so blown away by it. The next year we had 80-something kids. Then the next year we had 120 kids. And then by the 5th year, we had over 150 kids a week for 5 weeks. So it wound up being a staple. And then it starts spinning off into the academic component. And then it starts spinning off into the mentoring component. And then people wanted to kind of get involved with the organization throughout the whole entire city. So we start feeding the homeless, give back, reentry programs, partnering with other organizations. And it just started taking a life of its own, because the Choo Smith mantra is love it, learn it, live it, lead it. We believe that you have to have a passion for anything you do. And it starts with you first. No one can love you more than you love yourself. So if you love you and you do those things fundamentally in loving you, then you ultimately can have a plan of action for whatever it is that you want to be involved in. And that action is loving what you do, not liking it, but loving it. And then you need to learn what you love. So you got to study. You got to be around people that's smarter than you. You got to practice. And then you have to live what you learn. So now you practice. Everybody sees your passion. You're representing yourself in a great way. And now you're living. It's game time now. Now it's about execution. Now it's about delivery. And then the last thing is leading. Now you got to lead what you live. Now you're a leader even if you don't want to be a leader. You're leading by example. Whether you're a person that's vocal or non-vocal, you're still a leader. So it's those 4 L's that our organization represents. And it's inclusive. And we try to live by a standard. And it starts with me. And we try to level it off, and I make it about everybody else. I can't expect young people to do anything if I don't do it. So it's always a thing that this is not a dictatorship. We're teaching each other, and we're growing with each other, and we're learning from each other. And that's what the Choo Smith Foundation is all about.
Today, and annually, how many people would you say you're serving through the organization?
We have them broken up in different segments. So I'm going to say within a month, 3,000-4,000.
Wow.
See, because what happens, and it's probably more than that, because I speak all over. So that's a part of the brand as well. So if I'm speaking in front of 4,000 or 5,000 kids, or if I'm doing whatever program, then, and also I'm with the big 3, young 3 with Ice Cube. So I'm the vice president of the young 3 along with Jerome Williams that played at Georgetown. Me and him are great friends. So that's another component in which we do a lot all over the country with that. So when you have those things coming in conjunction, that's a lot of impact. And then
you're touching people like that's wonderful. How have things been? We haven't talked much about where we're at with the pandemic, and
right.
That was kind of the whole impetus of how we started these little interviews.
Right.
But how is that impacting your organization? You mentioned that camp is a part of what you guys do. You're going to be able to do the things that you've been doing, or is it being impacted?
No, it's hurt us a great deal. It's hurt a lot of the kids.
Yep.
We have another part of our organization is called Team Choo. It's a showcase basketball team that helps young people get seen on the summer circuit.
Yep.
So we had so many kids that were in position to play in July and in April and during these live periods. So schools can be able to see their talent. And it hurts me to my heart because now we got to make cold calls and we got to send film out. And, if you're not on that radar, it's hard to convince if people haven't seen you. So that's been very difficult for us. Financially, we have to go into our reserves, and then we're trying to get grants and however sponsorships that we can. And, people are tight on their money now, so what we try to do is stay encouraged. We have these Zoom calls with all our kids, and also we're revamping. We're putting some financial infrastructures together to try to work through this pandemic the best way we can. So when we come out of it, we'll be in good position. But it's been difficult, but I'm always positive about it, because this is just like losing, but we're ultimately winning. We got to go through some adversity, and transition is good. Sometimes we got to do some things a little bit different. We got to sit still. We got to prioritize. We got to get in that boardroom and start being creative and thinking some things that we need to do. to get back where we need to be. So it's all about growth, and I'm okay with it. I hurt for the kids because they don't know how to get through that like that. And
Yeah. Before we came on, before you and I were chatting about personally, we've all been touched in some way, I think personally in our lives, people that we care about, love, may have passed or are struggling, and then the trickle down of this virus has been immense, I think, and it's impacted our world of college athletics, and kids that lost years of playing, it hurts them, and the high school kids, like you said, who are looking for opportunity, maybe are starting over. But I also think the key is trying your best to look at what's ahead as opposed to what's behind, and that sounds like that's your mantra anyways, that you want to do what's I think we need more people like you that are trying to keep everyone on a positive end. I know also, all the other things you've done, professional athlete, CEO of this massive youth organization that truly is impacting the city of Baltimore. You're also a world-renowned author, right? You've written a book a few years ago?
Yes, sir. Yes. We have a book called That's Big, and it's a true story about myself. At 7 years old, I wanted to build my baseball field, and my own baseball field, because when I was young, I was a real good baseball player. I had a chance to get drafted. This is the book here.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right.
Yep. This is the book. And it's a true story where we had this grass out in our neighborhood, and I wasn't old enough to play clinic baseball at the time. And I said, Ma, can you give me some placemats? So I dug up the dirt and I made a baseball field. And all the neighborhood played on this baseball field for about 7-8 years. And it was amazing. And it was a true story. And I just wanted to show people that you can be creative when you don't have access to something. God has made us some awesome, organic, authentic creatures. And we just we can't sit down and complain and make excuses and feel like we don't have opportunity to do. So at 7 years old, my parents encouraged me to do the unthinkable. And that's something, they didn't try to box me into being a certain way. They allowed me to be my creative self with their morals and values and discipline. And I made mistakes like any other kid. And I grew up in the worst neighborhood in Baltimore. It was tough. But I always was positive, because my dad was always say, man, respect is earned. It's not given. And when you show people who you are, then people are going to ultimately be drawn to you, and you're not going to have the same issues everyone else has, because people are trying to be something else instead of being who they are. And that has helped me forever. So even being a globetrotter, even being with all these renowned celebrities, Tommy Ford and different people that's my best friends. Tommy Ford from Martin, he passed away. That was my best friend. And everybody was like, well, wow, how do you get all these people that? Because I see the person. I don't see what they do. Because if Michael Jordan lost everything today and you was his best friend, you need to still be his best friend. Yes, we love his greatness, but things can happen. And we shouldn't be defined by what we do. We should be defined on who we are. And what we do is the act. That's what makes us, that's the wholesomeness. Like, wow, he's a phenomenal, and he can do that, and she can do that. And that's, if you're not operating under that, I just be like, no problem. I get it. I'm going to go my way.
Right.
And that's how I see things. And that's what the book is about.
Well, I'll tell you, that experience as a 7-year-old kid, and then you move forward as a grown man, and the things that you've done. Obviously, that experience, that time, that guidance from your folks put you in the right direction. And I understand, like you said, everyone has their challenges, and it's not what happened, it's what you're making out of it, I think. And
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, yeah.
We got to close, but I will say, I'm really happy that I had a chance to speak to you. This is what an amazing life of making a difference, of taking advantage of opportunities to make a difference. You should be commended. You should be very proud of the things that you're doing, and the life that you've created. I'm glad that we had a chance to speak, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to speak again too.
That's what I was getting ready to say, Bob. Bob, one of the things, Miss Pat is, she's an awesome person. Once she took over as an athletic director, I said, listen, you got me for whatever, because you get it, you love people, and you want the best for everyone. And when she called me, it was a no-brainer. And just looking at you and seeing your spirit, and I feel your spirit. I don't want this relationship to just stay here. I want us to evolve. People try to say we meet people through a season. I don't believe in that. I think that we cut people off in a season because we choose to. Mm-hmm. But I think that if you have synergy and you're like-minded and you both want the best for yourself and for society and for life in general, then it's best for us to continue to grow together. So, Bob, I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number. I'm here. Whatever I can do to push the East Coast Conference forward, whatever we can do to help each other, I'm here, because that's what it's about. And I hope this interview has added to whatever it is that you all are trying to enhance.
Well, like I said, we just want to be able to have the chance to recognize and help promote people that are making a difference. Choo, why don't you give the website for your organization in case people want to learn more about it and learn more about you and what you're doing?
The website is chouyouth.org. You can Google chouyouth.org. And I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to be on this live Zoom. And I just want to say to you, Bob, that it's going to be okay. I know y'all took a hit, but we got to be positive. We can wallow in our disgrace and feel like we low and it's not going to happen, but we're going to come out good on this. And we just got to
I agree with you. I think we should all listen to our guest today. We thank the East Coast Conference Timeout Talks. Choo, we thank you, Choo Smith from Choo Smith Youth Empowerment from University of District of Columbia, and really pleased that we had you on today. Folks, we thank you for watching, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, Bob. Take care. Have a great one, all right? Be safe.